The Jewish community is defined by cultural, religious, and historical identities that span across many geographical locations. While Judaism is often seen primarily only as a religion, it also encompasses ethnic, cultural, and social dimensions. Members of the Jewish community may identify religiously, culturally, ethnically, or all of the three. The global Jewish population is estimated to be around 15.7 million people, which may seem like a high number, but in reality, that is roughly only 0.2% of the world's population. Then, in the United States, Jewish people make up roughly 2.5% of our population, with about 7.5 million people being Jewish in the United States. Then, when we look at our community here in Fort Worth, Texas Christian University, Jewish students only make up 0.7% of the total undergraduate population here. So, in many contexts, especially predominantly Christian environments like here at TCU, Jewish individuals may be a part of a religious and cultural minority. This can create unique experiences regarding religious practices, representation, and identity. So, we wanted to learn more about the experience of a Jewish student at a Christian university, just to really understand how they navigate being a part of a religious minority, how it can shape their identity, and what inclusion looks like in that setting.
I'm Hadley.
Hi, I'm Izzy.
I'm Claire.
And Claire is our interviewee. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, just in general?
Yes, hi, I'm Claire. I am 21 years old and I'm a junior at TCU. I'm majoring in communications and I am Jewish.
So, for the first question, um, can you share a bit about what being Jewish means to you personally, and then how that identity shows up in your college experience?
Of course. So, being my religion is very important to me, but I wouldn't say I'm the most religious person. I don't, have it doesn't have everything to do with all of my decisions and how I live my life, but it is an important part of my identity because as a Jewish person, it is a well-known fact that we are not a as big as a religion as we used to be, and there's a lot of converting and there's a lot of loss in the Jewish religion. So it's important for me just on a real level to have my Judaism be something I'm proud of and be something that I am glad that I have and can be proud of along with my family because in a unique way, I am actually 100% Jewish. My mom's side and my dad's side is Jewish, and all of my cousins, all of my aunts, all my uncles, we are all part of this amazing, religion that has gone through a lot of horrible stuff throughout our future, and it's important to me to keep that aspect, highlighted in my entire life.
Just gonna say, how does this relate in any way, or how does it show up in your college life?
For college, so as it's a parent, I go to a Christian university, but it was never about going to a school that, had a really big Jewish population because that's not something that I need in my life to be proud of my religion, for my religion to be a part of my life. It has always been very clear to me that I grew up in a world that was majority Christians. Most of my friends, almost all of my friends, are Christians or Catholics, and I've always grown up around that kind of environment. I went to a camp, a summer camp where we went to church on Sundays, and it was a relaxed environment, but it was still a parent there. So it definitely plays a part in my life, but it doesn't influence a lot of, who I surround myself with because that's not the way I want to live my life.
Are there any spaces or organizations on campus that support Jewish students specifically?
There are, but they're not very, you know, popular, and not popular in the sense that, it's cool to join them. They're not very popular in the fact that they don't do much. I think it's more for people who just, want to talk about how it feels to be in a Christian environment as a Jewish people, because there is some people out in the world who have very aggressive and negative views for Jewish people. And if they were to ever find out, a Jewish person was in their Christian school, there could be, aggression or hate for them, and they would need to talk to people. So it's not so much as, like a club, it's more of just like a safe community space.
And kind of along the lines of that, you're talking about how comfortable you can feel. Like, how has it been like easy or difficult to observe like your Jewish holidays?
So I TCU sends out, a mass email at the beginning of the year asking for students of a different religion to fill out holidays that they would get off that TCU isn't aware of. And there are a lot of Jewish holidays that fall in that realm. Like, Passover was last week, it was on a Tuesday. And in a lot of strict Jewish families, that's a day of fasting and a day where, you can't use technology, you can only drink water. And I am not, my family is not that strict on it, but if I wanted to take it off, I could have. And I've always had professors be very kind about um, holidays that they don't understand or don't, practice. And it's always been very easy for me to ask off. And I don't do it much. I only do it on important holidays where I feel comfortable in not being at school that day and comfortable in knowing that I really want to, support and celebrate that specific day. But it's never been an issue. I've never had a teacher tell me no.
Last but not least, how has attending TCU influenced your sense of identity?
I realized I didn't answer one of the parts of the other question, but it kind of goes with this. What like inclusion in my opinion means is, just being a part of the conversation, like having kids learn about Judaism, I think is a really important thing, especially in a religious course. Just because it's not the dominant religion does not mean it's not part of history and important for other kids to know. So the only thing that matters to me is that there is, people out there who are learning about our religion as much as we learn about theirs.
And thanks again for talking with us, and thanks so much for sharing.
Social workers can help to advocate for the Jewish community and all other minority religions by making sure to include them in the conversation as a whole. And on the micro level, that might look like asking about a client's religion and culture just to gain a better sense of their intersectionality, or on the meso or macro level, depending on how it's gone about. Social workers can advocate that Jewish holidays at educational institutions are both taught about and observed if the student wishes to. And then also just letting the voice of the population be the forefront of this advocacy is the most important thing. So as a social worker, providing resources to supplement this advocacy, like community organizations or potential spaces and just resources in general to be able to meet and plan advocacy efforts would be the most helpful in making sure that social workers can help amplify their voices rather than speak for them.